I know last week I said the next video would hopefully be more positive, and I'm sorry that the topic of this video is even worse, but I promise you there's a light at the end of this dark video. Just because I'm blackpilled on America, it doesn't mean that I'm blackpilled on the American dream, which I think is very much still alive, by the way. In fact, I'm the product of the American dream. My parents are Jewish Iranian refugees who escaped to Austria after the Islamic Revolution happened, and then they immigrated to America with just the clothes that they were wearing. They went from nothing in America to running a giant business with all kinds of employees and contractors. I'll tell you their full story at a different time. But my point is, our parents and our grandparents were hustlers who believed in American free enterprise, and they were able to make it here because for a long time, this was the kind of place where people took pride in hustling and making more money and going from rags to riches on your own by working hard. But to me, that free market America is changing. Maybe it's because of our education system becoming a giant scam waste of money that teaches kids to become corporate zombies instead of entrepreneurs. Maybe this country has become so multicultural that we started taking on the mindset of communist countries that are in a lot of trouble. But that feeling that you can be anything that you want, do anything that you want if you just put work into it, that feeling is fading in this country. People are choosing government taxes and regulations over freedom. They're turning to government to dictate every aspect of their lives, like how many showers you're allowed to take if you live in California, or how many feet apart you're allowed to stand from other human beings during flu season. Did you know, by the way, that even before COVID, there's laws about how many days a year you're allowed to let your kids stay home from school without the government coming after you and putting you in jail? I'm not kidding, it's called truancy laws. Look it up. You can thank our new Vice President Kamala Harris for enforcing that in California, by the way. We used to laugh at communist China for treating their citizens like numbers, forcing sterilization on entire religious minorities, making people disappear if they criticize their government, nationalizing every money-making industry, taxing and regulating ordinary business owners out of existence, and keeping track of every citizen to make sure they fall in line. Forget forced sterilization. China's drug problem is off the charts. People in China are self-sterilizing now because their lives are so miserable. But that's what America's turning into. America, where people used to have 5, 6, sometimes 7 kids on average. By the way, that's a sign that people were still optimistic about the future then. But now, communism is an impending reality in this country, and I know that you might think it's outrageous to say that, but just look at where we are now. Look at the signs. It started with welfare programs destroying communities. It has been years in the making. A growing percentage of Americans are relying on government welfare programs every year, according to the U.S. Census Bureau. And it's not even their fault, by the way. That's the fault of our politicians for establishing this god-awful system that makes it almost impossible for you to make money because A, you're bled dry by all these regulations and taxes, and B, you're competing with the government. See, when the government takes over an industry and starts giving things to people for free, all progress in that industry is over. Just look at what happened to Zimbabwe. No local hot dog stand or small business owner is going to compete with free meals from the government, or foreign aid for that matter. If you're a hot dog stand owner and the government is suddenly giving people free money, and free food, you're done. That's not a free market. The government is supposed to serve the people, not compete with them. COVID-19 has only been the tool to accelerate our path to full-blown communism. The government has taken over entire industries like healthcare, commerce. They're taking over the vaccine industries. They're rationing food, telling you where you're allowed to shop for food, what time you have to be home, how you're supposed to cover your face even when nobody's around. It's not some crazy conspiracy theory, guys. It's here in front of your eyes. You have left-wing politicians like Ilhan Omar saying they want to abolish the concept of private property, which sounds outrageous, right? Could you imagine the government seizing your house from you and taking everything you own? You'd think Americans would never let something like that happen, but it has already happened, right under your nose. In California, as a landlord, it's illegal now to even suggest to your tenants that they have to pay their rent due to the COVID pandemic. They're hiking up property taxes and plummeting values. Forget that you've spent years, decades into working your ass off and building a life for yourself, that you have a mortgage and taxes to pay. And you're paying for this piece of land and business that suddenly the government is calling the shots on and tanking to ashes. And if you try to talk about it, you can't talk about it. You're going to be silenced. They're going to find a reason to censor you on the internet, demonetize all your accounts, fire you from your jobs, smear you in the media as far right, kicking you out of major institutions and blocking you from ever entering. I recently just saw filmmaker Lauren Southern's video in which she reveals how she spent months trying to enter the United States, and the Department of Homeland Security was interrogating her about her YouTube videos and pretty much telling her she can't enter the country anymore. She's a girl who makes YouTube videos, for God's sake. She's younger than I am. She's being treated like a terrorist because she didn't speak the status quo, and there's so many people like her. It used to be that once you realize that you can't speak a certain way in public without losing everything, you'd get red-pilled, in reference to the Matrix movie, and you had the option to stick your head in the sand, pretend like everything is okay, speak leftist talking points, and be blue-pilled, and the evil forces won't come after you if you do that. But over time, the monster does come for everybody, even the people who are quote-unquote blue-pilled. And you're seeing a growing number of leftists also getting their lives ruined from what's happening, getting banned and blocked and losing their jobs, because at the end of the day, evil doesn't differentiate between Democrat, Republican, right, left. It eventually affects you no matter who you are. So that's why I'm Blackpilled, which means I've accepted an overall bleak outlook for America. I hope that I'm wrong. I'm not sure it's going to be forever, but I think for a long time. I've got some plans for myself, which I have been acting on. I had moved to Texas, one of the last states where the economy is still booming, and there are enough free market believers to keep the engine running for a while at least. I bought a house in the Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex. I got my real estate license so that I can help other people, my friends and family members, buy property here too. And I'm investing as much time as possible into growing a community online and finding ways to make money using technology so that perhaps in the future, when I'm successful, I can share these ideas with the people that I care about and maybe even help keep the American dream going. Because I believe that there's a chance that someday this virtual community is going to be all that we have left. And we will have to run somewhere, I don't know where. The only thing that we will have to rely on is each other and our shared belief in the American dream. And the good news is that that's all that we need, really. If it was able to save people like my parents and some of your parents from their countries, and I do believe that it can save us too.